Hello? Yebo.
Maybe Melissa just to stand with me, just to who are you and how is it? Not long, just like introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning. My name is Mona Lisa Makosa. I am the COO of Silulo Foundation.
Okay, Melissa, it's a month now. She joined. She was head of the Upside Enterprise Development in the Working Team. 3 years back when we started the foundation, she was the first one who believed in the foundation. No one started the foundation. She was one that, guys, I want to work with you. And yeah, when we were looking for funding, he was one that put the guys like, I want to fund. And I think most entrepreneurs from what you want to call for, she's been running the kind of the readiness for funding, kind of how to become ready for funding. She's got the 5 C's. I remember the 5 C's of Mona Lisa: capacity, capabilities, I don't know that, but 5 C's that she keep on and say how can we get funding. She'll continue doing those workshops with us, so it's a kind of an honor for the foundation. As a key driver with the foundation. Another member who is involved with the entrepreneurship.
Hi everyone, I am Akama. I am the program coordinator for the Entrepreneurship program here.
So she's the one that communicates with you guys, with this event. She's the one that's responsible. So we've got Alex and Ritzi, Metse, Noni, and Ascent. Was a team of 7 that we have for the foundation. So they are full-time working with the foundation now. So that's how the team comes about. So you can know that in terms of the team. And then I really want to make sure that when you go through this, I don't leave you, because it can be academic, it can be big, but I don't leave you. And please do not feel yourself ashamed to ask questions, because you come here today to know. So don't mind whether even language I don't understand. Even if you like Spain, yes, Africans is Swan I don't understand. Anyway, there's 200 people paid people they will be able to interpret, but I'm just like make sure that it becomes like we cannot be it's over you. Like my point is like it cannot be over you. The only way to probably to be connect with you when you ask questions. So a question makes you kind of like connect with you. So I'm hoping that I really would not want to be on the policy point or academic point. I want to kind of like connect to you so that you can do that. So the session is all about that, and if you could open your like if you want to go with me and with your phones, you're able to see the presentation that we're able to do. And I think that's the testimony of working at Township, working at Township, you're working unsettled in the space that you wake up tomorrow and things are not the way it's supposed to be. So maybe another thing that I didn't do so well, I kind of assume, and I can't assume that I don't need to assume that. So how this thing comes about and how what happened now, how all of these G20 things, I mean, how I fit here on G20. So, 5 years back, 2019, September, in New York, there was the establishment of Catalyst 2030. So there was an establishment of Catalyst 2030. So what is Catalyst 2030? It's a global movement for all the social entrepreneurs. So there are 4 bodies in the world, there are 4 organizations in the world that works with the social entrepreneurs. We've got Ashoka. So Ashoka awards entrepreneurs. So the social entrepreneurs have been awarded. So we've got Ashoka. We've also got SCORE. So SCORE, if you receive an award SCORE, you receive a grant of $1 million for $10 million. So if you are scored, you get $1 million with your award that I give you. So there are two awards that give you big money. It's headshot. It's the prince of like the headshot is $1.5 million. Yeah.
Did you say you synced up the presentation?
Yes, Akama said like Akama. They're not yet received like on their presentation. They're kind of like said they're not received. She's kind of like maybe she sent it again to everyone. We might not be on the list, maybe that could be the reason, but she'll probably say that again. So like, yeah. So I'm not even yet started on the presentation, but I'm kind of giving like how this thing comes about, but you understand this like this movement, and there's a movement of like of social entrepreneurs and innovators. There's a movement around the world. So how this movement. So when Catalyst was formed 5 years back, it was focusing on the system change for social entrepreneurs. It was a movement driven by the social entrepreneurs themselves now. So I led the Africa chapter. So I led the Africa chapter for the last 5 years. So I was a co-chair for Africa chapter. And then 2 years back, because there was a problem of Africans to work together. So there was no collaboration. So there was a problem. And then 2 years back, then there was set up Africa Forward. So Africa Forward was set up 2 years back. So Africa Forward was more focusing on 5 things. It's a policy work. So if you are a social entrepreneur, no entity in the world recognizes you. So government recognizes you are a business or you are an NGO. So there's nothing called social entrepreneur. So that's the problem in terms of the world, because the last 30 years there's an evolution of social entrepreneurs, people who are doing good but making money. So that's kind of evolution now. So there's an evolution of like, and it's growing, that movement now, doing good money, and it's growing because of two systems in the world, capitalism and socialism. So there's no common system that becomes like that. So social entrepreneurs fit in those two systems. And now some organizations that called BPROC. So BPROC give a stamp and say that we've got a social enterprise. So there's the impact investment. Impact investment is like saying we invest you based on the impact, and then there's now Africa Forward. We say that we are the movement of social entrepreneurs in Africa. So we represent the interest of the social entrepreneurs. So it's a movement that is responsible for any social entrepreneurs in Africa. It fits under Catalyst 2030. So why 2030? It's more about SDGs. So there are 17 SDGs that was looked at by UN, say by 2030 we need to address these SDGs now, so we can able to deal with the poverty, inequality, and environment. So those are things that came in with the SDGs. Yes.
Can you please break down SDG?
So it's Sustainable Development Goals for the world. So the SDG. So it's S, Sustainable, D, Development Goals. So this is like SDG. So there are 17 of them. 17 of them that they look at poverty, environment, partnership. So all anything you do, I think everyone that works, you probably satisfy one of the SDGs. So there's like what's like one of the SDGs now.
So when you say social entrepreneurship, you
Yes.
talk about people who are involved in CSRs.
No, that's yes. Because it's a good question. It's a good question because that's kind of a market understanding. Social entrepreneur, NGOs, are responsible for social. No, they are running business. Like Silulo is a social entrepreneur from inception. We are making money, but also we're making good. We bring access to technologies. People like art labs, they are making money, but also they're making good. So there's a big evolution of those businesses, but they're not being recognized. There's nothing that entity that say, I mean, we understand like the social entrepreneurs. In fact, most of you as business in the township is more, you start business because you see a need in the community.
Yeah.
But the problem is like, once you see a need, it's like, you kind of like struggling at some point like that impact that you started with, you struggle with it. Because you can't access grant, you have to make money, and you still have to work and assist people. That's where the biggest problem now, because once that has been recognized by the government and people are applying to entrepreneurs and there's a procurement and there's a tax for entrepreneurs, then it makes that favorable for people to want to look for social entrepreneurs. And that's what probably part of the thing comes in on the G20. The opportunities are there to able to kind of like legislate the social entrepreneurs. I'm hoping I'm kind of like.
So to generalize it, someone maybe that would create employment within abantu babenemali ehlali.
So that's a normal business. The business, if you're starting a business, the business you are making money. The business you are creating employment. That's a business. So a social entrepreneur, you are addressing a problem is either skill or digital transformation, or it's an environment, or it's like there's a problem that you're addressing it whilst you are making money.
Okay, there's a problem that you're targeting.
They're targeting. So all the social entrepreneurs are solving a social problem, but they're solving that problem through business.
Okay.
They're not solving through the NGO, so I can give you money so I can solve this problem. So they're solving problems in terms of like with that. So that's how the difference between the social entrepreneurs and then the entrepreneur.
Okay, so does it make a difference how you register the company? Because in South Africa, there's two ways you can register, either a PTY or an NPC. Does it make a difference if you have a social entrepreneur, how you register it?
It's not, there's no entity called social entrepreneur. So you can't go to a CIPC and say, I want to be a social entrepreneur. That's what Africa Forward is there now, to say, to lobby government and say, government, make a policy that recognizes social entrepreneur, so that when you go and register, you can register as a social entrepreneur.
So currently you can register as any of the two? Or
There are four.
should be a
No,
PTY?
there are four of the registration. So you can, I mean, if you like, if an NGO, you can be NGO, social services. You can NPC, CIPC. You could be a trust that could do that trust that, and then the fourth one, you can be a PBO, public benefit, where you get the tax breaks now. So those are four from NGO now. So there's not, I mean, as I keep saying, like nothing says that, I mean, I register as a social entrepreneur. So that's where the biggest opportunity that we see now, that the government must legislate a law which says that we recognize social entrepreneurs. Okay? So yeah, so because I think that we might go all over, but I think I'll probably give to a structure in terms of that, because it's good for us to understand this, like how this thing fit in, because the most topic is going to be about the social entrepreneurs to understand where this thing fits. Okay, so if I can move on with the Africa Forward. So the Africa Forward now, 2 years in Africa, having 1,030 members through catalysts that we have it, 38 countries in the continent that we have members. So I lead Africa Forward. So I'm an executive director, like a CEO of Africa Forward. So that's the job that I have taken as 1st of November. So that's a full-time thing to do. And as you kind of look at this, it's a working around the continent, but also working around the G20. So guys, I'm not even targeting G20. So there's a G20 and the Africa Forward. So this is like so I work with Uyogi Nambir. Uyogi, she used to be a CEO of Allen Gray Foundation. In fact, she was the founder of GIBS School of Business on Social Economy. There's a university now offering PhDs on social entrepreneurship, like GIBS, Beta Center. Those are universities that are offering the social entrepreneurship. You can do masters there, you can do PhD on that. So you used to run the GIBS, which is in Pretoria, and then she works with me now. She works on the policy side, responsible. And then we've got Upel Azuke. Upel, she's based in Nigeria. She's more on the youth, and we believe that social entrepreneurs are enablers of creating jobs and business. But we believe that once you recognize it and legislate it, there will be more jobs that are being created now. So Open is responsible for that, and she's working with MasterCard now to do project for the job creation in the continent. Why? Now another thing maybe that's like from also context. Why this thing is so important in the continent? Why is it so important? I mean, the studies are saying, in fact, which is quite not scary but opportunity. That's 50. Africa currently is sitting at 1.3 million people. 1.3 billion people are sitting in Africa. So it's a third now. It's China, India, Africa. So combined in Africa, we're sitting 1.3 billion. By next 25 years, we'll be sitting at 2.5 billion people. So it's the biggest growing continent in the world. So out of 10, by 2050, out of 10 kids being born, 4 will come from the continent, Africa. So Nigeria is sitting about 200 million people now. By 2025, it probably is going to be 500 million people that are going to be coming from Nigeria alone, in terms of like population now. So there's Africa now. No one in the world has to ignore Africa anymore. It's no longer in a dark space because the youth in the continent is going to be the one that's going to drive the business. And what you see now in terms of the ships going out to Europe, Europe will come to Africa looking for the skills and say that we've got aging population and we're looking for Africa. So Africa is going to be the hope for the world if things happening well now. But Africa can be a doom space if nothing is going to happen to Africa, because it could be a biggest problem, a nightmare to solve this problem. And the only opportunity, which has become the biggest problem, is to create jobs for the youth. Because if the youth are not having employment, then we're having the biggest problem. So there's a bigger kind of like scope of things that around the continent, that the continent is like vibrant, is growing, and you would see now Amapiano, Afrobeat, even politics now in Africa becomes like making much more noise now. So leave the Trump terms always, but Africa is kind of like making much more. I've seen even in Davos this year, for the first time, having head of state addressing the Congress in Davos. And that also is showing that, I mean, Africa now has to be kind of like taken note. So that's how all around this thing in terms of the opportunities that we see, and how all of us in terms of what here, that when we are running our business, we need to run to extend that it becomes like a bigger picture instead of running like we're running a business. So can I move on now? Any question? Like, can I move on to like the G20 now? Please. Okay. So the G20. Let me look at the G20 now. So the G20 is what is the G20 in fact? So G20 it came in 2008, when there was a crisis in the US. So 20 global countries came together, and then they able to say that they have to work together to address the problem around the world. And on the, I'm reading the B20 agenda now instead of like that, and I'm looking for it. So on the, with the problem that the world was seeing, it was kind of like saying that these 20 countries coming together to address the problem. And the funny thing around this G20 was G20 is one of the powerful organizations in the world. There's no other powerful organization that you could see that because the world, 85% of the wealth in the world sit in the G20. So in the world, we have 194 countries in the world. Only 20 countries control the agenda of the world. So if you've got a G20, a hosting nation on the G20, everyone comes in the country. So that becomes a space to showcase what we have. So South Africa, I mean, it's only country in Africa that is hosting the G20. In fact, it's the last country on the G20 to host the G20. Because next day is going to US, it's going to another. We'll host another G20 in the next 20 years. So this is the moment that, as a country that we have to like seize on the G20. It's a complex thing. It's not an easy things that you can navigate and understand. I mean, the G20 is very complex because you're not able, and it's more policy. It's not a matter of entrepreneur. I'm here. How can I get opportunity in the G20? No, it's about policy issues around that. But there are some an opportunity that comes about now. So I'll share the countries that are there on the G20: Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Republic of Korea, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, and Turkey, and UK and US. And then we only have 2 non-countries now, European Union. So this year, for the first time, African Union now, they added on the G20. African Union now is part of the G20. So how the G20 works, I mean, there's a Sherpa. So the Sherpa is more like a CEO of the G20. So there's a Sherpa, like someone who's responsible for G20. So there's a man called Zain Dango. So Zain is a director for DECO. So DECO is like Department of Industrial Relation. International Relation. He's a DG for a department. So he's in charge of the G20. And on the G20, to also be clear around this thing with policy, 80% of the work of the G20 is a legacy work. Only 20% that the country can do. What does it mean? So the things that are discussed in the G20, 80% of them are continuously things that have been discussed before. So it's not a new thing. So it's a thing that we're coming in like from Brazil. Before Brazil it was India. Before India it was Indonesia. So it's kind of like part of the continuation now. Only 20% of the work that can be coming now. And that's how the Brazil they've done so well last year. They kind of changed the G20 to make it a kind of a social G20 for social. So it was more like social in Brazil. In India, it was more like a business. So G20 was more like a business. So business people benefited on the G20. What I'm sensing now might be wrong, but I think it's too early now. Business are going to win on this G20. So business community are going to win on this G20. And you can ask why, and then it might be controversial now. Like companies like McKinsey are providing pro bono work, consulting for the G20. Big banks are funding the G20, the structure, and Busa is a business unit that represents like they are responsible for the G20, and the key people are involved there are the capital industry that comes in now. So business is going to win on the G20. There's no doubt about it because it's more how you become organized in G20. That's how you win. How you organize the G20 now. So that's the part of the seeing that is going to win. So Zain works with Lisa and also works with Advocate JLF. So they are deputy chamber, so they are responsible for the recommendation. So all the checks that we have in now, corporate checkers now, they go towards Zain, and then Zain decide on which policy that will discuss in the leadership summit in November. So everything has to go. So every tracker by July, the recommendation must come in and then they will discuss it and then there are groups on the G20 that South Africa is focusing on. There are groups that South Africa and South Africa have added new groups. There are 13 groups, 13 tracker groups that we have in the G20. So we've got a B20. So B20, it's the business 20. So business people coming now. We've got a C20. C20 is the civil servants, Oxfam, COSATU, and then all these go global. I mean, I can show it now there. But my sister, I didn't see that you are around her sisters. So we've got a C20, we've got a Labor 20. So Labor 20, it's more the jobs, the employment, it's driven by OSIPO from the Department of Labor. We've got Parliament 20. So all the government are coming like 12, Parliament 20. And also Science 20, all the scientists will come in, be part of the science. And then for the first time, there's a startup 20, startups 20. South Africa that introduced now to kind of on the G20. There's a Supreme Audit Institution 20. There's a think tank 20. And also there's an urban 20 and the women's 20, youth 20, ocean 20, and judiciary 20. So there are 13 tracks of the G20. We are going to hear on the news every day events that are taking place around. We are confused about what's going on about G20 now. So every day there are events that are taking place for G20. There are about 135 official events just for government alone, without C20, B20. Just 135 events and they will happen in different parts now, in the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, KZN, Mpumalanga. They will have this activity now. Because it's kind of like this G20 is a year thing. It's not the only event on the certain date. It's a year thing that activates the sector. I'm clear on the screen, like any question. So I don't kind of like go alone now. So are you fine? Okay. So so I'm kind of sharing now with the B20. So I think there's something I missed out. Okay, I missed out something before the B20. So from a G20, there are about 15 key working areas that they are working on. There are 15 key working areas that they are working on now. So these are areas that government is working on. It's on agriculture, anti-corruption, culture, development, digital economy, disaster risk and reduction, education, employment, energy transition, environment, climate, health, research, tourism, trade and investment, women's empowerment. So those are only focus areas from the G20. Any other things fit in other or it doesn't matter. Only those 15 areas that the government, the G20 works on. So I probably today I choose like to focus on two, B20 and G20. Not focusing to other trackers, but I think the power lies on the two. In fact, three, the C20, B20, and G20. Ezinye zikhona nje, but the power lies on the three 20s that you can able now. But on the B20, they are only focusing on 8 areas. They're focusing on employment and education, trade and investment, energy mix, digital transformation, integrity compliance, finance, infrastructure, sustainable food, and then industrial and then innovation now. So you can ask yourself, but where are the entrepreneurs here? Because I can ask, but where we come here, Tina? Because like if you see, these are big things: infrastructure, energy, and there's a question I asked when I was part of the conversation in Davos. I asked that question, how are the social entrepreneurs comes in? Not even township entrepreneurs, just entrepreneur. How are they coming in this? Of course, there's no tracker on that. So the question, the answer I received, it was there's no tracker for small business. So they are saying, especially B20. So they are saying B20, all the trackers 8, there will be element of small businesses. So all the 8, they will have element of addressing the small businesses, social entrepreneurs now. So every 8 tracker will be able to answer the question, what have you done with the small businesses? And I asked that question, who is representing the small business that is going to speak on behalf of small businesses? And the question was, we do not have anyone at the moment to speak on behalf of the small business. So there's a gap, even from a B20, C20, and G20 to able to talk with the businesses. And even there's already some movement in Joburg about the Township G20, the Township G20. It's not official, there's a movement, but they don't have a space to kind of like say, we want to be part of it. So there's also some energy now around the Township to say, even Monday, there's a meeting between the DTI and the B20, it's about the Township. So this topic about Township is quite important. they kind of understanding the contents around that. And then on the G20, I mean, we've got 4 people that are key. In fact, there are 5 people that are key. And I think you know some of you know these names. So the co-chair for B20, it's Nonkuleko Nyembezi. She's a chair for Standard Bank. She's the chairman of Standard Bank. So she sits as a chairman, and then the former CEO of Exaro, Ngozi Godlo, both of them, they are sitting as the chairman. So they are chairing the B20, and then the secretary and the shaper for G20, it's Anton Acosta and then Cas Cavadian. So I think you probably know Cas Cavadian from Musa. So Cas Cavadian is a shaper. Anything on B20 power or Cas, so the agenda is determined by Cas. So those are 2 people that are coming in. And then on the aid tracker, like you find Nicola, she's probably director for Yellowwood. She's responsible for the employment. The digital she runs the digital. And then so all of this kind of track, there's kind of key people that are running part of this line. And on the 24th to 26th this month in Cape Town, B20 is having a launch of B20. So it's where the most program for the year that is going to come in for the B20 now. And that's where we are going to be part of, like the Africa Forward and with the Better Center, with the impact investment to represent smaller businesses. I'm clear on the G20 because I'm going to go Africa Forward now in terms of how we fit in. And like any question around the B20 was, that's where the most part was. We must understand how this thing monster comes about. That's how you come. Any question around the B20? Yeah.
So G20 here, there's Davos here, there's BRICS here. How do these things fit together?
So, Assembly, which is the policy for every country. So all the governments, 4 countries go to New York in September for General Assembly. This is one. So it's the biggest body that governs the world. And then you've got World Economic Forum. So this is Davos. So WEF has been existing in the last 25 years. Started by Schwab. And it's the biggest powerful organization, which every year they set up the agenda for the year. So the agenda for the year has been set up in the Davos, and able to say this year they're focusing on intelligence and collaboration, where they kind of understand the AI is going to take over. So that's like the government. And then there's the G7, which is 7 governments come together, and then the G20, which is this biggest global organization that is taking over the world. That kind of like shape the policies beyond the agenda for the year now. So that's happening in G20. So those are bodies that separation, but they connect to each other because the G20 it's driven by the Ministry of Finance in the countries. Maybe next 2 weeks in Cape Town, there's going to be some conference around the finance tracker to look at all the finances, like tax, issues around. So that's how these things come together.
What's the contingency plan around Trump's nonsense and us progressing with the visions and plans taking place with the G20, also considering it being hosted by New York, which is Trumpville? What is the plan around that? Is there a plan around that?
So Trump was invited to come in Davos after 2 days being like, and he was talking on the video. And every business around the world, they just realized that there's a new ways of doing things. Things have changed with Trump. Trump is a factor, even South Africa is a factor. And the approach, what I'm sensing is wait and see. So there's no clarity because things are not certain. every day is kind of like different. So people are kind of wait and see now. But on the G20, it won't change anything. Because it's not Trump comes in or the Secretary of the US comes in. It's a body of the world now. But Trump can influence. Because if you are trading with the US and you are coming to South Africa, that could be also a big problem. So it's a factor, and I think even the government now, it's a headache that they're facing now with Trump. With this, because they had a good reception in Davos, but Trump came in and then becomes like a nightmare. So it's a factor that is going to be with us, and then over time, once settling the dust and then all the noise, then things are going to see. No, I'm going there, but I don't want to kind of live in terms of that, because I'm kind of sensitive, because I'm talking about many things. So that's why I'm saying this was the part that I want to make sure that you understand the G20, how it fits in, because for me to finish, sake of finishing it and not getting it, it's like not addressing that. Yeah. But I think I'm so sensitive with that. So now we come to Africa Forward, how the Africa Forward is entrepreneurs coming on the G20, and I share with you that the problem that we are solving is Africa Forward. It's more we want recognition. Social entrepreneurs, they want recognition from the government to recognize us that there are people called social entrepreneurs, social innovators. That also entrepreneurs, which is like are working now. And how do we government recognize that? They are recognized by legislation and policy. So there's a policy called social and solidarity economy. So social, maybe you're here green economy, circular economy, but the social and solidarity economy. That's the policy that the UN has gazetted in the last 2 years for countries to be able. In fact, even African Union now has gazetted a 10-year strategy on social and solidarity economy now. So there's a policy, the government has already done the green paper, just need to become a white paper on the social economy. So they've done some work in that. That's why important now. And the problem, how we are addressing this problem, how we are addressing this problem with the policy. So the policy is there, the government is there. So there was no body was following up with the government and able to mobilize and say that government look at this policy now. So Africa Forward now is kind of spending much more time in addressing the policy issue, so that the policy can be able to be legislated. It's difficult part, and quite interesting. I'm kind of sharing this thing with us. When we in Davos, the Minister of Innovation and Technology, Bates Mande, he was taken up by this social entrepreneur. He was responsible for innovation and grassroots entrepreneur. So he's taken up now. We'll work with the department because he sees that this is a kind of innovative way of addressing innovation in South Africa. But the key minister, which is responsible for the policy, Pakistan, DTIC, is not prioritizing policy. When he was in Davos, he was saying, we've got social solidarity economy in South Africa. If you look at the floral services, it's a social solidarity. People are coming together and club monies and we've got tax association. People even invite tax, you come together and why do we need to legislate it? And the missing part is and I think that's what we are going to look in terms of by legislating, you recognize it. It becomes official. So even if you go anywhere, everyone knows you are a social entrepreneur. It's not a question, and we unlock that economy, even if that informal economy, you unlock it now because you can able to make it recognized and people kind of start funding that space now. So that's what they will do now. And how do you do that? And we will do by mobilizing. This first gathering, we will have different gathering across the country. across the Western Cape now to create a movement and energy and people coming together and able to kind of like having part of the combination. Even on the last social summit, we'll have kind of like some of you joining the social summit, part of that. So we're going to create some much more energy now, and that energy we are knowing and hoping that it's going to create a space amongst you, create business among yourself. And not only, probably first and last for me to come and talk now, most event will have the keynote speakers, I mean like ministers and everyone come in and speak with you in terms of like on the G20, specific on the G20. So it's a way that we're showcasing now in terms of like how they move of the policy. That's like our part now. And the great thing that we have, we've got credibility with the partners. So we partner with the WEF, we partner with the SWAP, partner with the African Union, partner with the ILO. So ILO is International Labour Organization, which is the one that the policy, the custodian, and the Motse Foundation, they put in much more support on this policy part. So there's a global partner that we partner with. Also, we also having the funding now. Part of myself and Yogi salary work, it comes from SAP. So SAP is the biggest funder for Africa Forward. So they are behind funding. I mean, we also have a foundation. I mean, the foundation that are coming in now. Anglo American, they have a foundation now. They're behind for Africa Forward. And we also Mr. Price Foundation. Yesterday I was like on the meeting. They want to be the biggest youth enablers in creating employment the next year. So Mr. Price is keen around the policy. SAP Foundation, they've been working around the Space SAP Foundation. They are keen around with that. Momentum Group Foundation also, they really backing this thing now. And from the government, we've got the ITC. We also have the Minister of Innovation, and also DTIC. The DG is like also is kind of like helping the follow-ups now. And with the university, the Beta Center, I mean, is behind the UJ, they're also behind, and also the Self-Entrepreneurship UWC now, they're also behind. As part of the partners of the Africa Forward on this work to engage around this work now. And then to move on now, why it's important in terms of like now to come in on the entrepreneurial opportunities. What are the opportunities? All of these things that I'm talking about. So what are the opportunities now? The opportunity is more to say to you all that if there's any G20 event that is taking place, could be B20, L20, and please attend the events. Please attend the event. Some of the events, they bring global people, partners, even if it's virtual. Just attend the event, even if sometimes it comes for like policy, it's an opportunity to unlock and connect. So there's going to be many events on the G20. Please attend them. Some they waste your time sometimes. Some they can unlock because like here comes the talk and nothing that can come in. But attend now. And the second thing that opportunity is more. This is not going to be like a meeting and then we talk now. There's going to be some recommendations, like recommendations that we have to send to the government and the B20 and the T20. So the recommendation is more to say how in the township we would love the government to serve us and how globally the township economy, social entrepreneurs can be looked at now. So the recommendations are going to come in. So the opportunity now to be part of those recommendations and able to say, this is how I think that we can be like. So we'll open up and we'll share with them, but please be part of this recommendation because you will never know that part of the recommendation can be able to be adopted. And for you, this is a platform. Expand it for creating connection. So expand it, but in terms of like you just becomes a network session for you. So come here with your agenda to sell, to connect, create businesses. So use this space as a way to like that. And then when we have the local and globally engage with the global leaders, because there's going to be some kind of like those sessions that comes from global and leveraging on the partnerships. And not come with agenda, I want to win. collaboration is an answer. It was pointless for us to kind of like come in, like, because we are all on the cramps, but together we can make it much more. So try to kind of find a way that you can collaborate with someone that can be able to position yourself. So that's those are kind of like sites like that. How can get involved, and then propose event that we have think of having event, and this is only for Western Cape. This is where to be Western Cape. So we're proposing to have monthly event. The theme is on G20, but they will rotate in different spaces. So we go to different spaces now. And the first space we are kind of thinking now, I know I'm not talking about my sister and everyone like the team, but because of I know it's at home, so the first place that we're thinking of the next event has to be at Labs, which has been and using Truth and Entrepreneurship. Because you know last year we launched the partnership with Labs. So that partnership has to come strong this year to say that we can go to Labs and they will not probably power problem there. So there's a kind of a great way. So it's one of the kind of like the one of the events that we have to do it at, just to do it at Art Labs. And then another event we're planning, summer event we confirm the date, it's like a Philippine village with a Beta Center. They've got an amazing infrastructure that they have it, and with the Beta Center there, it's a space that we can also have it in another event. And the Beta Center, because of like there's also ecosystem of entrepreneurs already there. Because we want to make sure that we're the entrepreneurs and then we've got the presence. And another event is Viva and Kaiji. So with the infrastructure that they have, and we already partner with this Viva in terms of the Silulo Foundation. So when we do the Viva, another planned event is to do a Shona Queen. Shona, she deals with a disability. So we have to bring everyone together. So no one can be left out. So everyone can be part of the inclusion that we can create now. So we will do one of the events. We're not confirmed with the clothing bank, with our trace, but something that I'm thinking around that we can have it, but we will confirm it. And then we also with the university, we work with the University of the Western Cape to do an event, and we want the travel and one of the event. We'll do it. In fact, today after this travel our meeting with NAB, and it's part of the partner with us just for the event that we have it. And then also Stellenbosch University that we can invite. So those are events that will happen in the Western Cape, so that we can able to rotate and go to different places and create this momentum and create this energy. But the dates for Africa Forwards beyond the region, March there's an event with Oxfam University on the 7th. I think it's a closed event, and we're also doing some event with Beta Center with Africa Forward. And in April we are launching mini soft launch for Africa Forward, soft launch, and then May there's head of states meeting in Kenya to bring all the African states to look at the SSE in the continent. So and that event has been done by WEF, and we partner with them on June. We will have I think that we are asking questions. Okay. I saw it like, I asked you a question. Okay, think about it. So the June we will have an event, I mean, with the corporates, one of the corporates, might be we do SAP Foundation, and in June. And then July is going to be busy. We'll do an event with a roundtable with the WEF now. We did last year in November, another event. I know WEF and so all the partners will do the event in July. And we also, for the first time, launching in partnership with Africa Forward and Working Plan, launching the report, the state of the social entrepreneurs in South Africa. Able to say how many social entrepreneurs in South Africa, what is the value of the GDP, and how the sector so big. Because in the world, social entrepreneurs is bigger than the fashion industry. It brings about 2 trillion in revenue. It has about 2 million social entrepreneurs, 60% of them are women. So we have, a report. Afterwards, we involved with that. You is working so hard on the report that will come up for the state of entrepreneur. And then the September the UNGA, so we'll have the UNGA, we'll go to UNGA again, having a session that we have done Africa Forward. In November, we all be part of the social summit that the country is going to host. So social summit is more a big event. It's not a chaos, but it's in a stadium. You see artists, you see like the entrepreneurs. So there's going to be this big event that is going to take place now, and we're part of that with the event that we're creating alongside and with the key people that are coming in now. So the date of the leadership summit is, I think, the 22nd to 25th of November. So the event will be a week before, where the event for the closing of the G20. Then November is the G20 closed. All this like craziness is going to end, and hoping that time 1 or 2, 3 things we're able to achieve. For that, because that's the end. For that end, and I think for me, just like before question now, what I'm allowing now in party shop is to say that join this movement to unlock more value through Africa Forward, and leveraging the G20 for you, for your business, and for the connecting now, and engage on the global and understanding the policy. Don't kind of like only look at what is it for my business, but understanding that everything has to do with the policy, because policy it can unlock more value for that. So yeah, it's just to say get involved, and any question now, I'm willing to answer any question.
Question, for you to be part of the G20, do you have to be based in the township, or you can be able to be making an impact in the township? And then the second question is that Africa Forward falls under the G20, or it's a different entity, or Africa Forward makes policies for the G20?
So your first question, this thing of a G20 is about lobbying. It's a grouping of people lobbying together. So there's nothing, I'm kind of saying that there's nothing called G20 for Township or Township G20 or small business. It's not there. So we are creating that thing and saying that please take note of social entrepreneurs in the township and social entrepreneurs. So we are kind of saying that this is, if you give energy here, you can unlock more because this area is neglected. No investment, no support. So if you look at that, that's how we can unlock now. So we lobby for government through policy to be able to look at the township now. So that's one part now. There's a difference of Africa Forward and the G20. So G20 is an event of a year, not a day. It's an event for the year for South Africa that brings momentum. Just like momentum, which is more global, where everyone in the world is looking at South Africa now on the G20. So that momentum we're using to address much more social problems that government is not able to look at now. So we're looking at now to say how government, after G20, what will be left in our country to extend that this G20 could be able to bring and unlock those opportunities. So Africa Forward will continue and work in other parts of the continent beyond the G20. But this year, the focus is to South Africa because the president said this is a G20 for Africa, not only for South Africa. So any success we do, it will spin off to the continent.
Is there an opportunity for us to attend the G20 with the support of government? And then also, is there any opportunity, is there any investment coming from the G20 directly to our businesses, because we need money?
It's good questions. I mean, like some of the events of G20 are closed events. They are not public events. They are not like, but we see the opportunity to create that energy, that we bring the G20 to the people, so that they can understand that. And by doing that, we are hoping that part of the investment can be able to unlock. And we're hoping even from an entrepreneur now, they can be ready for those investments. Because we can bring the investment and the entrepreneur, they kind of like so it's a two-way thing that this was G20 in South Africa it's showcasing what the country can able to do. So they're showcasing now, we want to showcase now what entrepreneur we have that can unlock for that very full G20. So that's that's an opportunity we use it in terms of like, you know, neglect the space, we are here to bring it, and then entrepreneur this, and then let's find a way. Yeah.
So I just want to know, what's the process of engagement? So for example, speaking about all these events, how does someone keep in touch to understand when something is happening and when the opportunities are arriving?
So it's a start today. I mean, we had this like, and then it was a funny thing. This thing is a funny thing as well. The power call. I was sitting with Ankama last week. Funny. I was sitting with Ankama last week, and she was asking, "Take us, we need to do a network event." And she asked, like, "Can you do a network event about Davos, giving feedback about what happened in Davos?" Like, no, there's not much more that you can able to say when I took Davos now. And he said, "No, let's talk about G20, and then bring it to the team and the board. That's like, we need to do these activities and events for G20." And everyone was like, this is like way to go. So it's a start. We'll have a database of everyone, and we'll share with everyone in terms of like the next, activities. I'm sharing that there will be more activities. It's not going to be one-off thing. There's more activities. We'll be invited. At some point, we probably can even set up even a WhatsApp group for this kind of movements, what we use it. And for me, to everyone here, just to say, as we create this platform, use it for yourself. As Africa Forward, we can create, but use it to yourself. Go out to someone, find out what they are doing, see how can you do with the business with that person, because that's the platform that we're creating in terms of like the G20 now. So we will continue having more events. We'll be invited.
I want to know, you mentioned some companies like Anglo, etc. My question is it possible for this platform, or for you yourself, to be able to give us access to some of the people that maybe I've been trying to relate with so and so from? It's the prize, but I didn't have that success in terms of speaking to that person. So will this platform also enable us, maybe for you to give us some of the network of those people that you want to speak with?
That's the key part. The thing that I want to do it is to write an email and say, "Umhlegazi, I want to talk with you." I won't do that. So what I can do is to bring Anglo to you, and you able to talk with Anglo. So that one probably based on the activities, and you could even see the activity that we are going to have it in the different parts of the country. We'll have, like, let's say the CEO of Township Foundation in Cape Town coming in the event, and then you can come in and then be able to engage, and the connection becomes like you, and because we're creating, I think for us, instead of like creating a direct kind of like, I think it's better to create a space for everyone. So we will, same as minister, same as global, we kind of continue having heads up say that this session today is more like awareness, but there's going to be more activities now with these people that we bring it. Some they've been virtually, some is in my meeting person. Okay, in fact, okay, you want me to?
No.
So most of these organizations are more policy driven rather than technical driven. So some of us, we really are struggling in terms of the day-to-day survival of these enterprises. And I foresee a paradigm shift in terms of how we look at things and how we can add value to this. What would you suggest there are ways that we can broaden our minds in order to take better advantage of these opportunities?
You spot on. The biggest barrier or challenge for small businesses is they are dealing with the bread and butter issues on a daily basis. Like big businesses. So big business, you've got a team, you've got your CEO, you've got an army of HR and finance, and then so you can attend this kind of like and participate part of this thing. But as a business, your business depends on you. So once you attend, your customers are suffering in terms of like with that. So that's the reason why the small businesses are not organized. They are not having a voice. They are not being part of the policy making because everyone hustling, want to eat, want to get in that. So that's kind of like where the gap we see now. So through the Africa Forward, even the Silulo Foundation, our labs, all the partners, we're creating those spaces for you. Because alone or coming up, you're not able to do it now. So you need organizations that have got a massive infrastructure in order for that to create it, and we're able to do that now. So that's the essence of the point of like saying there's opportunity with established organization that we have to make sure that we don't have to kind of like disturb you and on your operation. You continue with the business so you can make money, so you don't die. But also knowing that how the policy. So for time to time we bring this high end affecting you, and on this policy thing, understand where to fit in, how the important, how can you contribute, but in a way that it's not contributing. Some of you here, you'll be interested around this, like at what time I want to can get involved, and then those one will be part of like, because there's going to be ongoing session beyond us meeting now. So you can be involved and say, okay, you're involved, and then you're part of the task team, and then you're talking about these matters on the policy. So there will be those opportunities.
So I want to understand, G20 is lobbying for social entrepreneurs to be recognized, right? But how are social entrepreneurs defined? What is the criteria for social entrepreneurs in this policy that we are trying to drive? I'm asking mainly because if there are opportunities that are going to be available for social entrepreneurs, you might need to understand, how do I fit? Am I a social entrepreneur? For example, if you're asking maybe is ShopRite a social entrepreneur, because they're meeting SDG 1, trying to eradicate poverty, they're providing SDG 8, decent work. So who is a social entrepreneur? And is there a point where you're a social entrepreneur now, and when you're making this much, you're no longer a social entrepreneur?
Yeah, no, I think it's a probably same question that you guys asking, and then it's a question what I was trying to answer here. To able to make out the noise and create a clear understanding of social entrepreneur, it's the law say you are social entrepreneur. So the law will be able to say to you, if you are making impact, you are making a difference, but also you are making money, you become a social entrepreneur. There are some bodies like BPROC that's able to give a stamp and say you are social entrepreneur based on all of these things. So that's what the government is going to legislate now, to create a language that all the entrepreneurs are part of that entrepreneurs. And the example I'm trying to kind of like to give it, because we've got many examples of entrepreneurs, not just like people, are satisfying and self-servicing the SDGs. We've got many examples, especially Western Cape is one of the biggest, biggest space where we've got so many social entrepreneurs. So I was giving an example like for us as an organization, we make money, we come in, cafe, we train, but we make a difference. Bring the connectivity and access to the people where they are at the affordable price that we buy. So we're running like a business, but also running a social. And we choose to run a business and leave the social money, and we can make a lot of money. But we choose, even this coming here and talking about the social like that. So I'm going to ask ourselves, but why we care? Because if you don't do anything, the status is going to be worse, and we are sitting in a country, in a continent, where the inequality becomes worse and worse. Sitting with this state where saying that 1994, the inequality is much more worse than now. So the picture is becoming much more so scary to the extent that no one will be safe. So we have to kind of find a better way to address this problem, more than running a business. Nothing wrong with the entrepreneur running around the shop, right, or running around that, because they're doing something. But we need more to encourage more businesses that have purposefulness. They look at the planet, they look at people, and they look at the profit.
So just the last one. This the company or the board that you say that looks at maybe impact, that measures the impact. What is it called?
BPROC.
BPROC.
Yeah, BPROC. So that's it. I'll send you like more information about that. But they are big to know, but they've got some in South Africa, but they measure in there. And there are many of companies that do that. Okay. Any other question, Matekas? Because this is like mostly what's the time? Oh, because we are asking the time here.
No.
You're a champion, but so.
No, I didn't ask the time. I just want you to first explain everything and then go for more. Most of the question that was done.
So you guys will
Right now, just would like to talk to you at the end.
we want me at the end. Okay, so thanks so much. We will talk at the end.
Also, we spoke about the different tracks within, like for example, tourism, digital transformation, all of that. So, as an entrepreneur, if you fit into, say, one or multiple of those, will there be a focus on the different streams, or is it all together as part of one?
No, I think it's more. I mean, all the 8 or 15 from the government, it's you if you got capacity, you could choose to contribute one of. So we might not able to kind of like be everywhere because of the time, because it's going to demand more time for you, because not only from a recommendation point of view, but from an opportunity point of view, you could kind of cut across, because that's how the opportunity comes about it now. And that's where the gap on the G20, B20 now, they really want to support small businesses, but there's no channel organization that represent small businesses, to the extent that if I'm in tourism, or I'm in the digital space, or I'm in the energy or agriculture, then the voices of mine is being represented. So that's where the opportunity comes. That all these trackers that represent opportunity for small business now to sit in the table with the decision makers and have the voice and able to say, this is how we think that small business. Because our Talapa, we say that was everyone say, I want to be part of the table. You can be part of the table, maybe you can be part of the meeting the table. But you need to make sure that part of the table you're able to kind of like lobby and speak on the behalf, or speak on the tourism as a whole as part of the table.
Both personally as your organization, so we're not taking for granted. Because all these things, they happen over there, we're not aware of what's happening. So encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, it's so appreciated.
No, thanks so much, because I think that's the passion, and I said in the beginning, for me, I want to bring all of this thing to us to understand, because no one cares. No one brings these things. I mean, if you see the TV, like, talk about this thing, but how does it come to ordinary people to extend that they understand in terms of how, even if we benefit, not benefit, but just like awareness, no. I mean, and that's like the biggest problem, like interest. How do you take it? Ko matatie, ko kumbo, ko soweto mlazi, where it matters mostly, because so this thing is not only about Western Cape or us. It's just like, as a country, we've got this opportunity. How do we make sure that people are aware what this is all about? They don't just hear the headline on TV and not understanding in terms of what's the details around this.
How do we have the ability to contribute to the policy that we're having? Would there be opportunities for that?
So yes, I mean, good question. I mean, like the opportunity is endless. I mean, the Ministry of Innovation and Grassroots Entrepreneurs is driving with this engagement. So they will be looking at conversations and the policy input that's going to come in with that. So there's going to be like sessions on the policy. I think first quarter is more awareness, second quarter it's more policy, third quarter the submission of the policy, fourth quarter it becomes like the head of state now looking at the policy. So there will be definitely a policy and the minister wants to come on the ground and meet with the youth and with the innovation background. Yeah. So I think it's more even for me. I find it. I mean, my weakness is like I'm an entrepreneur. I see opportunity. So the only time I don't spend time to research, but it gives you a time to research to understand how this can be shifted. And we need this brain. We need everyone coming to business. Yeah. If no other question here, I think we're almost like done with the session. It was almost like 5 minutes. Like we played until 10:30. If there's no other question with the G20, I'm hoping that there's a clarity now. G20, B20, Africa Forward, and the entrepreneurs, how this comes about. Yes, Pinas. I asked him.
And it will take time to absorb and then formulate some questions as the time goes. But anyway, thank you so much for your
Okay. No, thanks so much. I'll keep Kiev with more information, more input that comes in. I'll keep in that, and we're looking forward for more. And please, if you go to Philippi or go to Mr. Spain, come in numbers. That's like what's like. So the movement cannot just end here. Come in numbers, because number speaks. For attention has to be now. We can't invite and have an event and have 4 people and then say we want a police, like who will you represent? So number speaks in terms of the police.
Zoom sessions as well, and then some people can Zoom, and I think we see more numbers from that as well. So maybe someone stays in university, they want to attend, but for them to come here, they have to travel to Belgium. And then when they get to Belgium, it takes you to Dublin, it takes forever. So most entrepreneurs are not mobile. They use public transport. So if maybe in your sessions, since you already have a video cameraman, you can also Zoom, like maybe or if you can even be on live on Facebook and like social platforms. So we don't only make it, because we will attend those that can attend, but
take a picture of this.
You know, a room full of entrepreneurs. Solution to that, we're sitting with Loop Transport Services. Is there any budgets available? Let's support the guys, support our business, to support you guys. We can actually digitize the process as well via Loop, and all you need to give is the money.
Just a minute, just take what's the Loop, what's the Loop, so you can understand in terms of what was
Yeah, we're digitizing the taxi industry of South Africa to make things faster, easier. We've also got a free payment platform system as well. You can just check us out, Loop Taxi online, and we can work out special service rates for CEDA to have everybody, because we need to understand what you're saying. You're saying we need to physically show up with the numbers so people can see we are here, we are live. But she is right. We need to choose, businesses at the grassroots phase needs to choose between, do we attend this event or do we actually pay for our business to run, improve our software services. This is our real, and also eating. Do I eat tonight or do I pay for my for digital services to be upgraded? And this is our daily struggle. So we have a chance here. Can you guys support everybody getting here, because it wasn't easy for a lot of people to get here today as well, because businessing is not easy.
So there's a solution for those who struggle to go to FDP next time. Just play Loop will be there. So the platform that they can able now to get that, and then we can just find how we fund that. So, and I think that's a good thing. And I want to make sure that we open around these things. And I mean, even now we have this problem with power in terms of coffee. So at the moment we're leveraging on our resources. So we're using the resources that we have, like the manpower, the team from Silulo Foundation to be a backbone to manage all of these logistics around it. Some events they will be longer, we'll need catering that we have the event. Some event it will be just like logistics, just organize that event. So it's part of like getting partners now. So some event will be powered by. If we power by Metropolitan, for example, we go with them, then part of the cost for transport, we can maybe look at that cost and then factor it now and bring it now. But also the cost in terms of we can put it on our own, or if live stream that we want to do it. So we could do those things, but today is a start. And I think we're starting from here. And I think I appreciate in terms of, and I was saying when Alisa was worried, I was like, what's important beyond electricity, food, it's knowledge. So we can give you food today, and then I mean, like you're going to be like next 2 to 3 hours, but knowledge is going to be like power. So I mean, like the key is like, make sure that the hour and a half we spent here, you get 1 or 2 things that you're able to apply to business. But we need to bring everyone. And I think I checked that, like we have And there's going to be two combinations. We'll have a virtual event, but also there's a in-person because we need to have more in-person. Okay. Okay. I normally get my names. I have so much. I normally love when I picture materials. So one thing that we get, I didn't take pictures. One thing that we can do, but just all of us will be there and take a picture, so we can show that all of us are here. So please, if you can go, just take a picture. Okay, we can stand, get the back, and then we can utilize that. I don't belong. No.
And then we can make an
It's just an easier way to do it.
we recently one week video.
Not so much social So let me get your name.
Yes, Mr. Q. The shortest one.
And then we can do maybe a video Africa forward G20 Township. 1, 2, 3. Africa forward G20 Township. Yeah! Thank you so much. Can you join me? Yeah. This guy's taller than you.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah, come. Yeah. Come. There's no emission.
So go, 3, 2,